Well, a huge dump of snow is falling along parts of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, and Buffalo is getting the worst of it. Snow squall warnings also in place on the Canadian side, including Fort Erie, Ontario, and the Niagara region.
So we're going to make our way around.
Katie Nicholson is in West Seneca, New York, just south of Buffalo, and joins us now in the midst of it all. Katie, we can just tell by the snow on your shoulders there's been a lot more happened since you last talked to us. What's it like out there?
I guess I'm wearing the lake effect right now. Just take a look here. This gives you a good sense of how much has fallen overnight. It's about 2 feet of snow down here in West Seneca. It kind of stopped in Buffalo. That's where we were this morning. We drove into West Seneca. It was like driving into a wall of cloud and snow. Our visibility just suddenly went from perfectly clear to just nothing. It was just sort of a couple of 10, maybe 20 meters ahead of us. I mean, you can see over here at this church, this poor person here has been pushing a blower for quite some time now. It looks like it's quite strenuous, and throughout West Seneca, as we've been going through, this is what we've been seeing: people trying to shovel really heavy snow that's still rapidly falling. And just a real workout, even with machines like this, just to get through, because this is such dense, heavy, wet snow. And that's the type of snow, too, that will knock out your power. And there have been power outages throughout the area, particularly because it falls on these trees. It'll pull down the branches. And worth noting, a lot of trees that we've gone by haven't actually lost all their leaves yet. So then that snow just sticks to the leaves and further weighs down the trees. So that's creating a bit of an issue here. As I said, visibility extremely poor. We just had a whole bunch of emergency vehicles sort of go down here. That is one of the reasons that a travel ban is placed. They're trying to get as many people to stay off the roads in these areas that are being hit by the ban, so that emergency vehicles can go through. So a lot of plow operators out, and that advisory, or that ban, is expected to stay in place over the next couple of hours, maybe even into Sunday. The state of emergency, they decided today to keep that in effect. And we heard from Governor Hochul yesterday, this is a potentially life-threatening storm. It all depends where you are. In Buffalo right now, it's clear, but here where we are, clearly quite dangerous conditions, and that's sort of the effect of the lake effect, right? It's those bands, those long, narrow bands, where it could be totally normal in one part of the county and snowmageddon in another. So this is sort of the tricky part for emergency officials, is trying to keep people wherever they are, to stay where they are, so they don't end up in sort of take a wrong turn and end up in this.
You mentioned emergency officials. What are authorities saying, Katie?
I mean, again, it's no matter what the conditions are like where you are, they could change. The bans are going to shift. They are going to move. It is expected to move into Buffalo tonight, even though the travel ban has been lifted for the city of Buffalo right now. That ban, this weather, is expected to push back up into the city again and come back out and then push back in. I mean, this is a marathon. This weather system is expected to last over the next 2 days. So people are really buckling up and asked to hunker down and prepare to stay in place, perhaps until Sunday.
Katie, this is, of course, a huge story, but the story we've been leading with today is the situation at Twitter and real concerns about the ongoing viability of the service, with the chaos with employees leaving the offices effectively locked until Monday. And yet we know in times like this, Twitter, for years now, has become essential. What are authorities saying in terms of how they might deal with the possibility if Twitter were to crash?
What we've heard from the executive of Erie County is they're pushing people to Facebook. They've got a number of Facebook channels where they're posting information. They've acknowledged Twitter could crash. It's something EMOs have always depended on, or grown to become incredibly dependent on in emergency situations like this. And they're also having regular updates on their YouTube channel. They're trying to push people to that as well, so that people can get timely information, regular information. And they are still tweeting, but they acknowledge Twitter could possibly go down, and then you're just going to have to go to the rather old-fashioned Facebook.
Yet another complication in what is shaping up to be a very complicated weekend. Katie, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
CBC's Katie Nicholson in West Seneca, New York.